Hello everyone, I'm Devesh Sati from the Next Genius Foundation, and I recently returned from my 10-day US trip. This was the first time I went to the US, and I learned some extraordinary, fantastic things, and it was like an eye-opening experience for me. On this video, I'm going to share with you 5 of my learnings from my first US trip ever. But before getting into that, very quickly, let me share with you about the Next Genius Scholarship Program. That is the program we run. And this program helps high school students with scholarships. We identify ambitious students who want to study in the US and connect them with life-changing scholarships. Eventually, we are building a community of future leaders of the society who will go ahead, complete their graduation from the US, and will work in extraordinary organizations like Google, Meta, KPMG, Oracle, to name a few. Go to masters, highly selective master's program at Columbia and Rice. Those are some of the success stories of our program, and you can find more details on our website. And let's get going. Let's get started with the 5 learnings that I had from my first US trip. Number 1, the students, I actually visited a lot of colleges in the US on my trip, and I met a lot of students. And I realized that when a student goes from India to the US, it's a big transition from them. And when they get there, it's like being very lonely over there, because a lot of times you do not have a whole community, or you do not have a lot of support. You do not have someone to fall back upon when you are in need. And I saw that, and that's where I realized that, these students need some support, need a community. And that reiterated our philosophy of building that community that would support you. And that's where the Next Genius community comes into picture. Number 2, everything there is automated. There is a lot of automation, and anything which requires human resources is very expensive. For instance, renting a car is cheaper, but renting or hiring Uber is very expensive. You have everything, you have a machine for everything. You have not just a washing machine, but also a the drying machine, which is not that common in India. You have dishwashers, which are very, very common there in the US. So there is a lot of automation over there, and the human resources are quite scanty. There's very few, a lot of professions which are human resource intensive are getting vanished. I'll just share one example with you. I went to one of the colleges where they put me up at a nice bungalow, at a nice residence. And when I went there, they gave me a key and a note with that. They gave me a key, and when I knocked at the door of that residence hall, it was a 3 BHK bungalow sort of a thing. And I knocked it, and no one opened the door. I went around the house to try and see if there's anyone inside, and I found no one. And when I read the note, it said that the keys would open the front door and the door of your room. And that's when I realized that there's not going to be anyone. I have to do that all by myself. I have to enter the house, and I have to just take care of all my luggage. It's not like back home here in India, where there's 2 caretakers taking care of you when you are staying at some place. So number 2 is there's a lot of automation, and anything which requires human resources will be very expensive. You won't find people doing a lot of jobs which are very common back home here in India. Number 3 is the distances between things, is quite long. First of all, they travel the distance in miles, which is different than kilometers. But at the same time, to go from one place to another, you would mostly require a cab. It's not walkable. It's not, that the school to the college to the community hall would not be walkable. Within the college campus, of course, you will see many students walking to and fro, but as you go outside of the campus and as you travel from your campus to a nearby place, usually you would require to book an Uber, or you would have to drive with someone over there. And I'm not talking about places like New York, where, this is a very densely populated area, but this is about a small town in the US. Distances are not walkable. So that was a different experience from what I had seen here in India. Number 4, I also realized that when I visited all of these colleges, I realized that all colleges are quite different from each other. Some colleges would be much better equipped to students who want to study, let's say, pre-med or bio-related majors. Another college would be better equipped to work or to support students with learning differences. And the third college would have a strong program in aviation management. So this helped me understand that it's important to identify the right college for the students. And as a student, it's important to understand which college would you be a good fit at, right? That's where a lot of our work at Next Genius also happens. We try and support the students in identifying the right fit college for our students. And finally, number 5 is US is expensive. Well, it's something which it's a fact that everyone knows. But I realize that anything that you buy, any small item that you buy, is 5 to 10 times more expensive than back here in India. And that really reiterated once again the importance of the scholarships. If you go to the US without a scholarship, you're going to spend tons and tons of money gaining that world-class education. So winning a scholarship of any kind really helps you bring down your expenses, and it helps you, reduce the burden, the financial burden on your families. So those were my 5 learnings from my first ever US trip. I hope this helps you plan your next trip to the US. If you're a grade 12 student, check out our program, the Next Genius Scholarship Program. We've got extraordinary life-changing scholarships to offer to high school students. And we have a very, very supportive community of Next Genius scholars who will be there to support you when you reach college. Thank you.